All right, man, peace. So, resident NBA super dad and megalomaniac LeVar Ball recently made the news due to his decision to pull his middle son, LiAngelo Ball, out of UCLA University due to his belief that UCLA was coming down too hard on his middle son because of the incident that LiAngelo got into over in China with two of his teammates in regards to him stealing sunglasses. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
The Ball family was in the news again yesterday when Lavar announced he was pulling his son LiAngelo out of UCLA. LiAngelo was one of 3 Bruin basketball players indefinitely suspended after shoplifting in China. Lavar went on the Today Show.
I tell you what, man. I hope when I grow up, I can have as much confidence as LeVar Ball. Because for you to have teeth like that and still smile, that broader smile, you must really love your damn self. Hey, your LeVar mouth looked like he drank three pots of black coffee, and he been doing it every day for the last 10 years and not brushing his teeth. First time I saw LeVar smile, I said, oh, man, he got some nice fronts in his mouth. Then I realized, oh, shit, those are his real teeth.
Show and explained why the decision was made. Let's take a listen.
China already said, okay, he made a bad mistake. We're going to drop the charges. That's the punishment they gave him.
But in China for stealing, you
But that's the punishment they gave him. Now we over here. Look, we got to serve some more punishment. He apologized. What is the long process for?
Look, let me say this about LeVar. And, of course, people are going to look for any reason to get on LeVar. LeVar has a business plan. Like, I had some guy who tried to hit me up in the comments. You know, one of these guys who dislikes LeVar Ball. And his basic sentiment towards me was that LeVar, according to him, that LeVar Ball had painted me into a corner. Because of his decision making and due to the fact that he decided to pull his son out of school. First off, let me say nobody can pin me into a corner. I say what I want to say, and I say it because that's what I perceive. Is why I call it a pro-truth channel. My commentary is based off of what I see and what I perceive. But let me say this. A major problem that people have in society is that they invest more energy in seeing other people fail than they do in investing energy in seeing themselves succeed. And because of that, this is where you have the genesis of the concept of a hater. See, all a hater is somebody who has not spent enough time investing in themselves. They're more worried about seeing other people fail so that they can feel better about themselves. Why? Because they have no motivation. See, brothers, I know I go on and on about certain themes on this channel, one of them being a ruling class mentality. But a ruling class mentality is not always winning. It's not always being a success. A lot of the things that you think about in life and that you conceive and that you try to succeed in, it's not going to work. All right? Sometimes you're going to have different ideas that you want to try to implement and they're going to fail. Just because you fail does not mean that you're a failure. You're a failure when you stop trying. It does not matter to me because I'm not a member of his family whether LeVar Ball succeeds or not. I speak about his mindset. He believes in himself. And most people do not believe in themselves. And he's imbuing that in his sons to believe in themselves and have a goal and follow through on that goal. This is why he always talks about speaking things into existence, thinking about it and then making it materialize. That's what it means to be a winner. You're not a winner just because you're a success. There's a thought process behind those successes. Everybody fails. So, when people say, oh, well, look at what he's doing to his son. You know what's hilarious? The consensus was that LiAngelo Ball was not going to make it into the NBA. So it's hilarious to me that, according to these sports media now, LeVar Ball is stopping his son from going to the NBA by pulling him out of UCLA. This is the same sports media who said that his son had no chance of going to the NBA in the first place. In my honest opinion, what LeVar Ball has done is brilliant. He has actually given his middle son, who nobody cared about, an extreme amount of notoriety. His son has more of a chance of going to the NBA now, especially if he goes overseas to China or wherever and plays basketball with the other son, LaMelo, and makes a name for himself. He has a better chance of going to the NBA now than he would have had going to UCLA for 4 years and riding the bench. Okay, because that's all he would have done.
We only went to UCLA, one and done, to play basketball. I'm going to get Jello in shape. I'm going to work him out. We're going to do some other things, and he's going to be headed to the NBA. Grand plan stays the same. All these boys are going to get on the Lakers. Watch how I do this. And people going to look up and they say, wow, how they all get on the Lakers?
Well, I don't believe that they're all going to get on the Lakers. I don't even believe that they're all going to end up in the NBA. But who knows? The way that this man believes in himself, who knows? I'm a firm believer that once you have a conviction and you truly adhere to it, that you can definitely make it materialize. There's no doubt about that. And if you notice, LaVar Ball is not here looking for no damn hug. He's not begging anybody. He's using his own ingenuity and personality to try to make certain things come to fruition that he's had on his mind for a long time. People say, well, he's just a failed athlete who's trying to live through his sons. Well, you have a lot of parents who try to project what they want for their child onto their child and turn them into what they want them to be. When a parent tells their child, you're going to become a doctor, and I don't want to hear what else you have to say, and you're going to go to school, and you're going to go to college, and then you're going to go to medical school, nobody says, oh, man, why are you forcing your wishes on your child for? Nobody says that.
We're joined by former NBA coach and UCLA alum Earl Watson. Earl, has LaVar finally got too far?
How about you? I don't think so. I think this has always been a business for the big baller brand ever since high school. We don't even know if Melo is going to be NCAA eligible to play the next season. What I think they will do is continue to build the brand globally, preferably in Asia, not Europe. And European players always leave school early, 14 and 15 years of age, to turn pro. And they're always said in the draft room to be better prepared, more mentally mature, ready to take on the NBA rigors of a season. Now, in order to get Jello into the Lakers next season, I don't think he's a first-round pick. I think he has to be a second-round pick. He will have an opportunity, and will the Lakers draft him because he's a ball brother?
No, you see they're changing the media rules to deal with LaVar. They're not taking on another one.
I agree with Shannon on this. The Lakers are not going to draft another ball. They're going to wait and see how talented LaMelo may be, and they may give him an opportunity down the line. But they're definitely not going to draft LiAngelo. At least I don't see it, unless he makes an astronomical leap as a player overseas. But I do believe that it is a business decision, just like Earl Watson has stated, and I think that it's a brilliant one. With all the negative energy that would have been hanging over LiAngelo at UCLA, with him being suspended, I believe I think that they said 3 months, which is almost, the entire season. What was he going to gain out of it? The prognostications for him in regards to his draft stock were going to be low anyway. Nobody believed that he was going to be an NBA player anyway. They have nothing to lose. People are acting like he's a regular black kid from the hood who needs to go to school and get an education, quote unquote, aka be introduced into the debt slave model of owing a university 6 figures. He's not in that position. At the end of the day, LaVar Ball is the one who made his sons. So he does have a right to direct them. He's done a great job so far. People talking about he's a terrible dad. Look, there are many terrible dads in America. There are many terrible moms as well. I guarantee you that most of the so-called good moms and dads have not gotten a quarter of the results that LaVar Ball has had. And beyond that, what right is it of anybody else to tell that man how to raise his children? They love to see the fact that he got caught up in some form of criminality so that they can finally have something to grasp onto in their vendetta against this man, LaVar Ball. It's comical to me. And it is also very entertaining to me to see how adroitly he's able to sidestep a lot of the nonsense that is directed at him.
You know that, I know that. Go ahead.
I don't believe that. I think if they have a late pick, I think they take that chance. He's going to have to work his way through summer league. He's going to have to prove he can shoot. He's going to have to prove he can guard. He can't just work out throughout this season and think he's going to get drafted based on high school. So I see him playing overseas, and I see his brother joining him early.
Okay, but you're a UCLA alum. You stay close to the program and the inner workings of it. And you were here last time. We were talking about how should he be punished. And I said, at least you got to keep him out until the turn of the calendar, January 1st. Let him play sort of the backside of the season. And LaVar said, nope, you punish my son, I'll punish you. I'm taking him out of school. The middle son is the classic case of a kid who needed to stay at UCLA for, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years.
Why? Why should he have to stay at UCLA for 4 years for? Everybody knows that in in the modern day, in the modern day era that we live in regards to the NBA, the evaluation that they would make of most 4-year college basketball players is that, well, you were there for 4 years for what reason? Because as we all know, all the top prospects are coming out after 1 year, at the most 2 years. So for a guy to be there for 4 years, the first thing that a scout, a basketball scout, is going to do is look at a player like LiAngelo Ball with a very wary eye. What were you scared of? Why did you not want to enter the draft? Lavar knows that, and he knows that it's bad for business. He does not want to wait too long. Lavar is basically a snake oil salesman in that he wants to get the money. He wants to be able to market his enterprise before people figure out that maybe his sons can't play. That's really what's going on, is that LeVar Ball understands that there's a chance that his sons are not going to be able to make it in the NBA. So he has to maximize any form of monetization that he can as quickly as he can and try to turn this over into a business enterprise that he can use to, to keep his family going and possibly become wealthy, become a business owner. LeVar understands that. Just like, Joe Jackson understood that all his sons in the Jackson 5 were not as talented as Michael, but you dragged them along, right? You dragged them along and you let Michael carry them. Of course, Michael in the end got tired of it and moved on, but that was the business model behind what Joe Jackson was trying to do, and many other fathers in the entertainment industry. So this is nothing new, what he's doing. It's new in regards to the NBA circuit, but it's been done all over the entertainment industry before. And LeVar looks at his 3 sons, and he's actually on record as stating that he did not believe that LiAngelo was an NBA player. He said that before, that he didn't believe that LiAngelo was going to make it. But now he understands that through this notoriety that LiAngelo has received, that they can possibly transition this over to an NBA career. Because at the end of the day, the NBA is the entertainment business. And they're more likely to take a chance on somebody who has a name due to notoriety than they would somebody who nobody knows. If LiAngelo had remained basically anonymous, I guarantee you his chances of being drafted would have been far lower if he would have remained anonymous and went to school for 4 years.
Because he's the one that I'm least sure about whether he's even draftable in the second round, right?
No, I agree. He's definitely a 4-year player. I think LeVar saw an opportunity where my son is not getting much playing time anyway. He's not starting. So why wait? We have to continue to build this brand up.
Exactly.
This brand is a global brand, and he wants to make it global. He was in China for a reason,
right,
with Melo doing pop-up shops. And I guarantee he made contacts to continue to get back over there. And then the sell is not really Jello. It's having Melo go with him and playing on the same team. See, Jello is a spacer. He's not going to go get his own. He's
the middle.
Yeah, the middle. Jello, he's a spacer. He's not going to get his own. He's not going to go one-on-one. He's not going to isolate you. Melo is the only point guard that understands his brother's game because they constantly stay together. I don't see one making one move without the other following. Lonzo's with the Lakers. We know that's guaranteed. He's not obviously leaving the Lakers. So those other 2 younger brothers are going to stick together.
Well, what do you think about this notion that LeVar saying, okay, they made a mistake. The Chinese authorities say, guys, you made a mistake. We're going to drop the charges. What about him saying, well, UCLA should not do anything because the punishment has already been, the being detained for 3 or 4 days has already been served?
There's one thing you have to realize. No one's bigger than UCLA.
Right.
Coach Wooden set that statue very high. He's held it with great character, great integrity, and I guarantee UCLA is beyond embarrassed and disappointed in what happened. So I'm not sure if UCLA is even fighting this removal.
I'm sure that they're not. I'm sure that at this point, UCLA, their stance pretty much is that LiAngelo is more trouble than he's worth. We really don't need the bad publicity. UCLA is also a global brand, a multi-billion-dollar global brand that has a lot of connections in the Far East. And they don't want to continuously be affiliated with a black eye like this. So I'm pretty sure that they're happy to get LiAngelo off their hands.
I think UCLA is going to continue to be that same institution that is polished and stays professional. The big baller brand has a different avenue, and they have to be kind of, extreme in their choices.
Absolutely. They have to utilize guerrilla marketing tactics, and people really don't understand this. They're talking about LeVar Ball and why he's always in people's faces and why he comes off as being so arrogant. LeVar Ball has to make you believe what he believes. It's kind of like Muhammad Ali when he was on the come up as Cassius Clay. He stated himself that he called himself the greatest before he even believed that he was. That's a way to try to manifest what you want to be reality. All right? The philosophy that LeVar Ball is utilizing is not new. It is not new. P.T. Barnum also utilized it. And it is an attempt to get people to believe in his brand before his brand has even truly materialized. I mean, let's be for real. What really is the brand right now? Sneakers that people are not really sure of, T-shirts, and a son who seems to be trying to find himself right now in the NBA. He shows signs, but nobody really trusts the fact that his son Lonzo is going to be a can't-miss all-star for the next 15 years. We really don't know. So LeVar Ball's attitude is, until these things really show and really reveal themselves, I have to keep bluffing until I can either be confirmed or pretty much be invalidated.
Because they're starting from grassroots on up. So you understand, like, LeVar has a strategic plan. He's always been strategic, and we'll see what happens.
Well, how do you build up? Skip, just let me.
Before Shannon continues, let me say this about Earl Watson. It's very clear that Earl Watson has a ruling class mentality.
Just let me. How do you build a shoe off Jello when Jello is not playing, or he's going to be in Europe or Asia, wherever he's going to be?
Doesn't matter. Brother, overseas is not like America. Overseas, you don't have to average 35 points a game to sell a shoe. Stephon Marbury went to China and they built a statue to him. Like, you know, there's a history of marginal NBA players going overseas and becoming like gods. The problem with America is that America is so judgmental, and people want to see other people fail so badly in America that they really cannot comprehend how someone can attain success without being in from the American perspective, super successful.
This summer, UCLA is ran. Summer pickup UCLA is legendary. It started with Magic Johnson in '79. He kept it going. Kobe, Shaq, every Laker, every Clipper, like young Lamar Odom, even every UCLA player has come through there. Even Chris Webber,
Just
Kevin
to play
Garnett.
pickup.
Just to play pickup throughout the summer at the men's gym.
Yeah.
Which is
Hard.
Coach Wooden's.
Chris Paul was there
Yeah,
this year.
three courses. This is Coach Wooden's first gym before they built Pauley Pavilion. The original chalkboard is up on the wall. It's ran by Rico Hines, who is now a G League coach for the Sacramento Kings in Reno.
Okay.
I came up there at the end of a pickup game. You had about 25 pros, including James Harden, Paul George, Devin Booker, 25 pros. Jello was there with his UCLA team. Kids eventually came through there in the end because they kind of keep it closed. Kids ran through there. Who's the first person you think they ran to?
Jello.
Jello.
Just the ball.
For an autograph.
Huh?
They didn't run to Paul George. They didn't run to James Harden. They ran to Jello. They wanted his autograph. What they have captured in grassroots basketball and the following that they have in grassroots basketball is beyond any market you can even touch with any commercial.
And also due to the fact that LeVar Ball quite brilliantly optioned for his family to be on Facebook to have their reality show, to make it even more accessible to their market, which is the youth from about the age of 12 to 25, particularly amongst the so-called minorities. So LeVar Ball, once again, he understands who to market to and how to market.
They've done this with no commercials. So I think his strategic plan, and he understands what he's doing, is taking him to the next level for the future consumers of tomorrow.
Absolutely. And by no means, once again, can LeVar Ball allow his son to ride the pine for a year. That's bad for business. It's bad for business. They have to show his son playing basketball. Believe me, you can put together a highlight reel to make a playground player look like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. That's what LeVar Ball is dealing in right now. He's dealing in show business. He's not dealing in reality. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Right? In order for him to get his type of business off the ground the way that he wants to get it off the ground, it's all about image. It's not about results. Now, he needs Lonzo to come through. That's the main thing. Just like Joe Jackson needed Michael. Joe Jackson wasn't worried about Jackie and Tito so much. He needed Michael to come off, and Jermaine a little supplement. That's LaMelo. That's LaMelo proverbially speaking anyway. LaMelo is proverbially speaking Jermaine Jackson. And look at Joy's face. Joy's looking at Skip like, Skip, you better come up with something. because I can't have this this Negro sitting here making LaVar Ball look like something other than a piece of shit, because that's what I want him to be. Because I can't take an alpha male black man being successful. Somebody got to shut this shit down, Skip. Say something, Skip.
Yeah, but how? Like Jello, his only shot to me to prove himself as even a second-round NBA pick was to stay at UCLA. How are you going to prove to scouts that you're worthy of even a late draft pick?
Skip, these guys act like it's still 1975. How many players are coming into the NBA from overseas? Like, you don't have to go to a major American university in order to get drafted in the second round. You could be a grade A ball player out in China or Italy or Germany and get drafted. So it just shows you how limited the scope of most people are or is. And oftentimes limited scope is based off of the fact that they want to see people fail. See, when you want to see people fail, it stops you from being able to see the big picture.
I'm not sure he's a one and done anywhere he goes. I think if he goes overseas, whether it's Europe or Asia, Japan, whoever, China, I think he has to stay there at least 2 to 3 seasons. Okay. I think putting him with Melo and Melo foregoing college, foregoing high school, he's not playing this season anyways. I think putting him with Melo gives them a chance to be the best that they can be, knowing that they know each other's games.
And beyond that, it will also give them a showcase, because wherever they go, most certainly they're going to get a lot more minutes, particularly LiAngelo, than he would have gotten in college. There's no doubt about that. They're both going to get much, much more of a showcase and a spotlight than they would have gotten at UCLA.
See, Jello needs a pass-first point guard. He needs someone to always look out for him. Melo has always been that guy for them. Lonzo taught them how to play. Melo has then eventually took over after Lonzo.
Well, I'm confused.
That's obvious, brother.
How is Melo a point guard shooting the ball 50 times a game?
That's a new age.
Well, shit, have you heard of Russell Westbrook? Have you heard of Damian Lillard? Hell, even Steph has games where he shoots a lot, but at least Steph shoots a high percentage. All these point guards are shooting a lot, Shannon. Come on, brother.
There ain't no new age.
That's the new age.
Stop.
That's the new age.
If you shoot the ball 50 times a game, you ain't doling out no assists.
He's averaged a lot of assists. You got to watch Melo in high school. Melo, to me, could be potentially the best one. He's legit 6'6". He has a crazy handle, and he shoots the ball well. Like, he shoots the ball extremely well. He shoots from deep. He's amazing.
Lonzo shot the ball well.
As you know, it's always the little brother.
Yeah.
Right? You know that. It's always the little brother, right?
That was a smooth line. He won Shannon over with that one.
It's always a younger brother that knows exactly what to do and how to do it. Learn from the big brother's mistakes. You know that.
Exactly.
Right?
So, Earl, last time you were here, you called LaVar a genius.
And I believe that he is. In his own way, I believe that LaVar is a genius. If nothing else, he represents a dying breed of men who are unapologetic and unafraid to speak their mind and who don't give two fucks about what people think about it. And he's going to transcend a lot of the haters. Haters are just people who are scared to find out what their gifts are and work on their gifts. That's why they spend all their time rooting for other people to fail. All right, very, very pathetic people.
And you still believe that. And Shannon and I, as we open the show today, we're finally out. Like, this has gone too far. I'll just speak for myself, because I still believe Lonzo Ball can be a big star, superstar in the NBA. He can be a difference maker. But the father is making it so hard on him.
Well, look, iron sharpens iron. If you were to ask me, do I believe that LaVar Ball should lessen his commentary in regards to Lonzo and the Lakers and their game plan? Yeah, I do. I do believe that he should fall back in regards to his overt criticizing of Luke Walton and Luke Walton's lineup changes and things of that nature. But I do believe that LaVar Ball knows his son better than anybody. He knows what galvanizes his son. He knows what motivates his son, Lonzo I'm talking about. And he knows how to get him going. So if nothing else, I do believe that if Luke Walton is intelligent, that he would call LaVar Ball in and ask him certain things. And in return, kindly say, if you don't mind, please don't speak to the media about what we spoke about. And please don't mention anything in regards to Lonzo. And I will take what you have to say under advisement. Because that's what anybody who's intelligent would do whenever you're dealing with something that you've never dealt with before. You ask somebody who's dealt with that thing or that person. Right? If you've never driven a certain type of car before, then you'd ask somebody who owns that car or who has experience driving that car, okay, what does it drive like? That's all. That's intelligence. So I believe that Luke Walton should do the same thing with LaVar Ball, and I also believe that it would stop LaVar Ball from making such overt statements that are making both himself and his son look unprofessional. So I do believe that he should fall back on that account and on that accord. But I also believe that one of the reasons why he's doing that is because he believes that the Laker brass are not taking his advice like he believes that they should.
Week after week, he just escalates. He broadens the target on his back. Game after game after game, and he's criticized Luke Walton publicly. He even criticized his teammate Julius Randle at the end of the Golden State game for not...
Let me say this. It's very obvious when you watch Laker games, it's very obvious that there's something going on between Julius Randle and Lonzo. It's very obvious to me that Julius Randle does not like Lonzo for whatever reason. Maybe he doesn't like his dad. Maybe he's jealous of a lot of the notoriety that Lonzo is receiving. Once again, Julius Randle's a bust. He came out a couple years ago. He really hadn't done shit in the NBA. Oftentimes when people don't like you for no reason, it's because they're jealous. All right? The scriptures tell you who can stand before envy. Right? Wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who can stand before envy? That's in Proverbs 27th chapter, I believe. So when you do find that somebody is envious of you or jealous of you, that is a very, very, very diabolical spirit to deal with. Very difficult to deal with because that spirit is constantly moving and trying to express itself in different ways so that you can't really put a handle on it or when it's going to manifest itself. So if you ask me, I do believe that the Lakers should think about moving Julius Randle and also Clarkson as well, Jordan Clarkson, because I also believe that Clarkson is jealous of Lonzo Ball as well. And you'll oftentimes have that in certain teams where you're trying to change the culture. You have certain guys who are nice players, but they're not even good players. And oftentimes those guys are the guys who talk too much or who are trying to stop the development of other players. And that happens on many teams. When you bring in blue chip prospects, you have nice players who are trying to get in the way of a blue chip prospect from becoming great. And you have to remove those influences before they impede the progress of somebody who can actually be transformative to your franchise. Okay, so that's something that to me the Lakers are going to have to consider. Because Julius Randle can't be out there on the court not giving Lonzo the ball. Bottom line, that's your point guard for the next 15 years, allegedly. He has to develop. It's like if you want to buy a stock, if you want to buy a stake in a certain stock, if you have to pay $100 for a certain stock, you're gonna spend more time trying to make that stock grow than you would something that you paid than for a penny stock. No disrespect to Jordan Clarkson, but he's a penny stock. Lonzo is a major stock that they invested in. They want to see that stock. They want to see that stock create some type of revenue for them. So Magic will have to think about moving, in my view, those two guys, because from what I've observed, they do not like Lonzo. And everybody has to be all in on this for it to work.
Game for not getting the ball to Lonzo up the floor to close the deal at the end of the game in regulation. They lost in overtime. And I just can't defend him anymore, but you still can't.
I think he's a genius. I think what he's doing, he understands Jello at UCLA for 3 to 4 years will not get drafted.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Once again, this man clearly has a ruling class mentality and is a three-dimensional thinker. There's no doubt about that. He's not thinking emotionally. See, Skip actually was thinking on a grander scale, but he's allowed the quote-unquote haters to pull him down. That's all haters can do is pull people down. They cannot rise up to that other person's level, and they cannot rise other people up. And that goes back to the video that I did on Kevin Durant about self-oppression and about how certain people will try to pull you down with them. Okay? This is why it's best, and I told brothers this before, when you're striving to achieve a certain thing, it's best to be a loner. It really is. Okay? It's best to be a loner. I'm not saying that you have to be. There are going to be certain people in your circle that will support you, but the vast majority of people will not. The vast majority of people only want to be around for the result. They don't want to be around for the journey. Okay, so now 7-8 years from now, Lonzo Ball, 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star. What are they going to say about Lavar? They're going to say, oh, well, it really wasn't him. Lonzo worked hard. Now, 4 or 5 years from now, Lonzo's not in the league. What are they going to say? LaVar Ball ruined his son's life. That's the gamble that you take when you believe in yourself. You already know what people are going to say, but you don't give a fuck.
If you're going to take your shot, you take it now. You take it as soon as possible. You make moves to make sure your son gets the best chances possible. You can't fault Lavar for being strategic. You can't fault Lavar for creating a business in a collegiate business game.
Absolutely. All this bullshit. Oh, well, he has to stay for the 4 years and get his education. Well, according to LeVar Ball, his son has a 4.0 GPA. So his son can go back to school anytime. Once again, this is not your average so-called black family in the hood who has one opportunity to see their son succeed and, everything is riding on the son. Their family's already living in a multi-million-dollar home. They've already succeeded. Everything else is just gravy. It's just frosting. So right now, LeVar Ball understands that the best way to strategically position his son is to use the notoriety that he has garnered from that situation over in China and maybe even take him back over to China and make that part of a storyline or a narrative. Who knows? But here's what I do know. About a month ago at this time, nobody cared about LiAngelo Ball. Everybody said that he was not going to make it into the NBA. And now all of a sudden, LeVar Ball is ruining his son's life by taking him out of UCLA. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that one.
Then you can't fault him for that. So as you move forward, Melo is going to be a superstar. You know that. He has that following. He just has that game. Jello is the one that they have to protect the most. And they're a family. They do everything together.
Okay, well, hey, I compared him to Empire. LeVar is Lucius Lyons. Jamal is Lonzo. LaMelo is Akeem. And Andre is Jello. He got to go in the family business.
And I'm LeBron.
He can't sing. He ain't going to be no R&B. He ain't going to be no rapper. It's okay to run daddy business.
I might agree with that.
Okay.
I might agree with that.
I agree with that as well. And I think that LeVar understands that. And then that's why I stated, if you go back, LeVar himself stated that he does not believe that his son was going to be an NBA player. He said that months ago, around the time that the LeVar train first left the station. So, once again, this only shows you how much of a genius LeVar Ball is, because he's actually taking the little bit of energy that his son was able to create and once again turning a negative into a positive. Right. That's what real people do. That's what real men do, especially. You take a negative and turn it into a positive. You got so many dudes out here now, I don't know if it's because of the feminine energy that they have. They like to try to turn positives into negatives. They look for reasons to bicker like little bitches. LeVar Ball doesn't ask anything of anyone. He tells you how we're going to flip it. We're going to keep it in family. We're going to stay loyal, and we're going to build. And if we fail, we get back up. We fall, we get back up. But we always stick together. That's all it's fucking about, man. It is not that complex.
Okay.
I might agree.
Okay, let's go to Lonzo. And again, I'm a big fan. Shannon's shaky on him at best. So he just turned 20 years of age, and in his first 20 games in the NBA, he had 2 triple-doubles. He had the biggest night against your team as you were coaching still in Phoenix, obviously 29, 11, and 9. He's had 5 double-doubles, and he had consecutive rebound games of 16 and 13. He's also had 4 games, including the one the other night against Houston at home. 4 home games that he, as the point guard and leader of that team, should have closed the deal because they were in position to win those games. And he did not bring any of the 4 home.
Well, it's called being a rookie, Skip. That's all it's called. It's called being a rookie. I didn't expect him to come into the NBA and be Magic Johnson or LeBron James. I guess maybe you did. And a lot of times people have put a lot of these expectations on Lonzo, knowing that reasonably he would not be able to reach those heights, just so that they could try to castigate him, just so that they would have an excuse to come down on him real hard. So it's a learning process.
And against Houston, he missed his first 3-point shot. He's obviously in a horrendous shooting slump. And he went into a shell that scared me against Houston because it was pathetic.
Well, let me say this. It can be traumatic to have to go against James Harden and Chris Paul. Okay? Those guys are 2 Hall of Famers. That's his first time out there doing it. It happens. They bring a whole nother level of intensity. I thought that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson went easy on him. I think that Steph Curry felt sorry for him and said, I'm not going to go ham on this kid. Because Steph Curry at this point, Steph Curry has so much of a legacy that he has already created for himself, and he's not even 30 yet. And Steph is so secure in himself as a person that he's not going to go out and try to embarrass people. I think that he looks at Lonzo, and I think that he can differentiate, unlike most people who are not successful, he can differentiate between Lonzo and his dad. And I think that he looks at his dad more of an entertainer than anything else. People who are not really confident in themselves will look at somebody like Lavar and get upset. Why? Because they're losers. They've never looked within themselves and said, what talent do I have and how can I maximize it? They look at themselves and they say, you know what, I'm just going to keep going to the same job I hate every day, stay with the same bitch I hate and who hates me every day, and just deal with it. You know what, you might as well just jump off a fucking bridge. All right? Stop bringing your loser mentality to people who are actually trying to achieve higher things in life. And Steph Curry is somebody who's a winner, even though I'm still unhappy with the way that he performed in the 2016 finals, particularly in Game 3. He gave away the series when he decided that he was not going to show up in that game. But he's somebody who's very self-assured, which is also the reason why he went and he did that video showing you all of his training techniques, because he's a guy who knows he's going to the Hall of Fame. He doesn't care. He has nothing to hide. And also he wants to make a lot of money off of it, most likely. Okay? Unless them classes are free, which I doubt. But if they are, one of you brothers can correct me on that.
He just closed up shop and basically, while he was on the floor, tried not to be involved in the offense. And I don't get it. And maybe you can explain it to me, but I don't know I can't defend that.
A lot of times we sit in the draft and we talk about kids' skill, what they're capable of doing. And the hardest question is the psyche of a player. You will never know the psyche of a player until you actually get the player. I think the Spurs do the best job of figuring that out before they draft that player. They have a great...
I wonder why the Spurs do the best job of psychological profiling. Why they do a better job of psychological profiling than any other team in the NBA. I wonder why that is.
They have a great method. Yeah. I think with Lonzo, playing the point guard position is the most difficult position in the NBA. You're facing the best, most talented players in the NBA. In the world. Right now, the NBA point guard position is the best that it's probably ever been. Ever. Now, I remember at one point in the late 90s, you had Tim Hardaway, you had Rod Strickland, you had John Stockton, you had Gary Payton. You had a lot of great point guards in the NBA, and it was a much more physical era. Guys could hand check more back then. You even had guys like Damon Stoudemire, Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson, coming in who were young, so on and so forth. But this era right now, with the way the guys could shoot and fill it up, and then you can't put your hands on them, it's crazy. I couldn't even imagine trying to guard most of those guys with the way that they can handle off the dribble, and then once again you cannot put your hands on them. You're facing the James Harden, you're facing the Chris Paul. And the hardest thing, as you know, when you enter on that field or that court, is these guys you watched on TV your entire life, that you feel like they are actually giants and untouchable. Right. So that first moment when you take the court, you are going to be in awe. I played against John Stockton. I picked him up full court because Gary Payton was my vet. Gary said, you better pick him up full court, but you better respect this opportunity. So Gary also built him up. Right. I pick up John Stockton. I realize his shorts are really that little.
And Gary Payton is on record as stating that John Stockton is in his view, the best player that he went against in regards to having to guard him, and the toughest player that he felt like he had to guard.
And I realized this.
And I've stated this before. John Stockton to me is a top 30 all-time player. Top 30 all-time. All-time leader in assists and steals. And one of the great clutch players. Probably the greatest clutch point guard to never win a championship. Unfortunately for him, he ran into Michael Jordan twice. But he was a great, great, great player. Couldn't dominate because of his size. But he was a great player. He couldn't. I should say he couldn't dominate on the championship level. In the finals, he couldn't dominate because of his size. But overall, he could dominate a game.
His chest hair is truly coming out of his jersey. Mm-hmm. And then I'm picking him up like, man, he has on Asics. Like, this is just amazing. I'm turning him full court. I'm in the ball. We get to the top of the key. He throws a pass right past my face, the ball. Right past my face. I duck. No one is behind me. And he tells me, back the F up. And then I realized I can no longer be a fan. But I was stuck in awe. I was stuck in, this is truly my idol. This is John Stockton, and Gary Payton is my teammate. This was video game for me.
Yeah.
So I think Lonzo had that moment. Can't judge Lonzo on these top moments because a lot of people go into a shell when they face the Houston Rockets. It's not even just Lonzo, but Lonzo is going to definitely continue to stay in the fire. He's going to continue to play at a high level, and you have to support their coaching staff. You can't tell them we need you to win, but also Lonzo needs experience.
What happened in the rest of the game against John Stockton that night?
Man, I don't remember, but Gary cussed me out a lot. It was tough. After a couple of Karl Malone screen and rolls, elbows to the face, I realized I have to kind of have a football mentality and kind of take some people out.
And don't let John Stockton take your head off.
Don't let him take my head off, but he's still Stock, though. You still love him, though. Like, you love to hate him,
Or we'll be back later in the show. Can the Steelers beat the...
But anyway, that's the video on LaVar Ball and his new strategy with his middle son, LiAngelo. I'm very, very sure that it is going to work because it's certainly better than the alternative of allowing his son to languish on the UCLA bench for a year, waste a season, and then come back next year and also most likely not play and not start. But anyway, peace.